September 1944. A biting wind whipped through the skeletal trees of the Ardennes forest, carrying with it the scent of pine and the acrid tang of distant artillery fire. Private Thomas Miller, a young man whose face still held the soft contours of youth despite the grim realities of war, shivered inside his thin uniform. He was huddled in a hastily dug foxhole, the frozen earth offering scant comfort against the relentless cold. The rhythmic thud of German mortar fire had been a constant companion for the past hour, each explosion sending tremors through the ground and rattling the very bones of the men. Suddenly, a high-pitched shriek tore through the air, growing louder, more urgent, until it culminated in a blinding flash and a deafening roar just a few yards from his position. The concussive blast slammed into him, lifting him from the ground and throwing him violently against the side of his foxhole. His world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of pain and disorientation. When consciousness flickered back, a dull, throbbing ache pulsed at the top of his head, a stark reminder of the shrapnel that had struck his helmet. He reached up, his fingers trembling, to find the steel shell deeply gouged but intact. He was alive, a miracle ode, he would later learn, to the unexpected resilience of a new, almost miraculous material. To truly grasp the significance of this moment, we must journey back to the crucible of the First World War. The Great War had introduced a new, terrifying scale of violence, with artillery barrages and machine gun fire causing unprecedented numbers of head injuries. The steel helmets of that era, like the British Brodie or the German Stahlhelm, were revolutionary for their time, offering basic protection against falling debris and glancing blows. However, they were heavy, often uncomfortable, and their ballistic properties were limited. They could deflect some shrapnel, but a direct hit from a high-velocity fragment or a rifle round would often penetrate or cause severe concussive trauma. As the interwar period progressed and the specter of another global conflict loomed, military strategists understood that future wars would be even more dynamic and lethal. Soldiers would need to be lighter, faster, and yet better protected. The traditional steel helmet, despite its improvements, was approaching its practical limits. Engineers and designers faced a daunting challenge: how to create head protection that was significantly lighter, more comfortable for extended wear, and yet offered vastly superior ballistic resistance against the ever-evolving threats of modern warfare. The answer, they realized, would not come from simply making steel thicker or stronger, but from an entirely new approach to materials science. The United States Army, acutely aware of these shortcomings and anticipating the demands of a global conflict, launched a highly classified research and development program. Their objective was audacious: to design a helmet that would not merely improve upon existing models, but fundamentally redefine soldier protection. The result of this intensive effort was the M1 helmet, a design that would soon become an enduring symbol of American military might and ingenuity. Its revolutionary nature lay not just in its distinctive, almost sculptural shape, but in its ingenious two-piece construction. The outer shell, a robust dome of Hadfield manganese steel, provided the primary ballistic barrier. But the true innovation, the secret weapon, was the inner liner. This component, often mistaken for mere padding, was in fact a marvel of early composite engineering. It was meticulously crafted from layers of high-pressure molded phenolic, resin-impregnated fiber, a form of advanced plastic. This composite material was engineered to be lightweight, yet possess an astonishing capacity to absorb and distribute kinetic energy. Unlike solid metal, which might deform or shatter under extreme impact, this layered plastic was designed to flex and dissipate the force, transforming what could have been a fatal penetration into a manageable, if jarring, impact. The dedicated engineers, toiling in clandestine laboratories across the nation, were not just designing a helmet, they were pioneering the field of synthetic materials for ballistic applications, forging a shield that would soon redefine the very concept of battlefield survival for millions of soldiers. Private Thomas Miller, a fresh-faced recruit from the quiet agrarian heartland of Ohio, was among the first wave of soldiers to be issued the new M1 helmet. He remembered the initial skepticism that rippled through his platoon. "Looks like a damn pot, doesn't it?" one of his bunkmates quipped, tapping the steel shell with a skeptical finger. "And what's this flimsy plastic thing inside?" another asked, pulling out the inner liner with a dismissive shrug. Miller, however, possessed a pragmatic curiosity. He'd heard the hushed rumors circulating through the barracks about its advanced construction, the whispers of engineers claiming it could stop bullets that would punch clean through older, heavier designs. He didn't fully subscribe to the more fantastical claims, not yet, but he trusted the Army's judgment, a trust forged in the crucible of basic training. As he carefully adjusted the intricate webbing and chin strap, the helmet settled onto his head with a surprising balance and comfort. The design felt inherently practical, almost intuitive. He knew deep down that it was meant to protect him, and in the looming chaos of combat, any advantage, no matter how subtle, felt like a precious lifeline. The M1, with its dual nature of steel and advanced plastic, was more than just headgear. It was a promise, a silent guardian against the unpredictable horrors that lay ahead. Thomas Miller's journey into the maelstrom of global conflict began far removed from the muddy, shell-pocked fields of Europe. His roots were firmly planted in the rich, fertile soil of rural Ohio, where his early life was a tapestry woven with the threads of hard work, community, and the simple, enduring rhythms of farm life. From dawn to dusk, he toiled alongside his father, learning the invaluable lessons of resilience and perseverance from the land itself, traits that would prove indispensable in the crucible of war. When the clarion call to arms echoed across the nation, Miller answered without a moment's hesitation, driven by an innate sense of duty and an unwavering desire to safeguard the democratic ideals he cherished. His transformation from a farm boy to a disciplined soldier began at Fort Benning, Georgia, where the rigorous training stripped away civilian habits and forged him into a fighting man. It was during these intense weeks that he first encountered the M1 helmet. The drill sergeant, stern and unyielding, emphasized its critical importance, not merely as a piece of protective gear, but as a tangible symbol of the modern American fighting force. They meticulously explained its innovative design, detailing how the outer steel shell and the inner composite liner worked in concert, a sophisticated dance of materials engineered to dissipate the brutal force of impact. Miller, with his practical, hands-on understanding of mechanics, appreciated the engineering marvel, even if the intricate science behind the plastic liner remained somewhat abstract. He learned to wear it, to trust it implicitly, to make it an inseparable extension of his combat persona. The helmet, with its distinctive silhouette, became a constant, silent companion, a steadfast guardian against the myriad, unpredictable horrors that lurked just beyond the horizon. His baptism by fire came during the relentless push through the treacherous hedgerows of Normandy. The dense, ancient earthworks, originally designed to demarcate farmland, had been transformed by the Germans into formidable defensive positions, turning every field into a deadly maze. This was Miller's brutal introduction to the visceral realities of modern warfare. The air was a constant symphony of destruction, the terrifying crack of machine gun fire, the banshee wail of artillery shells screaming overhead, and the ever-present chilling threat of unseen snipers. Every man was perpetually on edge, their nerves frayed by the ceaseless tension. Miller quickly assimilated the crucial lessons of survival, the paramount value of seeking immediate cover, the life-saving importance of staying low, and the unexpected, almost miraculous benefits of his M1 helmet. During one particularly ferocious firefight, a German machine gunner, hidden deep within a hedgerow, unleashed a torrent of bullets. A ricocheting round, deflected by a tree branch, struck the side of Miller's helmet with a jarring metallic clang that reverberated through his skull. The impact was violent, a sharp, concussive blow that left his ears ringing, but the bullet, its energy largely dissipated, merely left a shallow, ugly gouge in the steel shell. His head, though shaken, remained miraculously unharmed. On another occasion, during a sudden mortar barrage, a jagged piece of shrapnel, no larger than his thumb, struck the crown of his helmet. Again, the M1 held firm, absorbing the blow and preventing what could have been a catastrophic, potentially fatal injury. These incidents, though harrowing, were not isolated. They were repeated experiences that steadily solidified his unwavering faith in the helmet. It transcended being merely a piece of equipment. It was a proven lifesaver, a silent, eloquent testament to the profound ingenuity of the engineers who had conceived and crafted it. Each close call, each averted disaster reinforced the profound realization that this new headgear was fundamentally different, offering an unprecedented level of protection he had once thought impossible. As the brutal European campaign ground on, Miller and his beleaguered unit found themselves relentlessly pushing deeper into the heart of German territory. The fighting, already fierce, intensified with every hard-won mile, transforming the landscape into a desolate tableau of destruction. The initial surge of optimism that had characterized the early advances through France had long since given way to the grim, grinding reality of facing a determined, desperate enemy. The winter of 1944 descended with a vengeance, bringing not only bone-chilling temperatures and an endless, suffocating blanket of snow, but also the chilling news of a massive, unexpected German offensive in the Ardennes. The Battle of the Bulge, as it would come to be known, was a brutal, desperate last-ditch gamble by the Wehrmacht, a desperate attempt to reverse the tide of the war. Miller's unit, caught squarely in the path of this ferocious onslaught, found themselves dug into a series of shallow, frozen foxholes along a snow-covered ridge, facing a relentless, pulverizing barrage of German artillery and small arms fire. The air, thick with the metallic scent of cordite and the palpable stench of fear, crackled with the energy of impending doom. Every man understood with a chilling clarity that this was not merely another skirmish. This was a fight for their very survival, an ultimate test of their resolve against an enemy battling with the ferocity of a cornered beast. The M1 helmet, once a new and somewhat unfamiliar item, had by now become a trusted, battle-hardened extension of every soldier, a silent, unwavering promise of protection in the face of overwhelming existential danger. The German counter-offensive, a desperate gamble to split the Allied lines, was executed with a brutal, unyielding ferocity. Mortar shells rained down with terrifying regularity, tearing through the snow-laden branches of the ancient forest, sending deadly splinters of wood and jagged fragments of metal whistling through the frigid air. Private Miller, his body aching from the cold and the constant tension, remained hunched deep within his foxhole, his M1 helmet pressed firmly against the frozen, unforgiving earth. The cacophony of battle was an overwhelming assault on his senses, a deafening symphony of destruction that threatened to shatter his very sanity. The incessant roar of explosions, the staccato rattle of machine guns, the distant screams of wounded men, it was a hellish soundscape that seemed to swallow all other thought. Suddenly, a high-pitched, piercing whistle sliced through the din, growing louder, more urgent, more terrifyingly close. Instinct, honed by months of brutal combat, took over. He instinctively pulled his head even further down, trying to burrow deeper into the meager protection of his foxhole, but it was too late. A German mortar round, its trajectory perfectly calculated, slammed into the ground just meters from his position, unleashing a blinding flash of light, followed by a concussive blast that ripped through the air. A jagged, white-hot piece of shrapnel, propelled by an unimaginable force, struck the top of his helmet with a sickening, resonant thud. The impact was brutal, a hammer blow that sent a shockwave through his skull, momentarily scrambling his senses. His vision blurred, his ears rang with an agonizing, high-pitched whine, and a wave of profound nausea washed over him, threatening to consume him entirely. He felt a sharp, searing pain. Then, mercifully, darkness. The world, for Private Miller, went utterly silent. Hours later, as the immediate fury of the barrage subsided, German patrols cautiously advanced through the devastated American positions. Their mission was grim: to search for any surviving enemy soldiers, to scavenge for valuable weapons, and crucially, to gather any intelligence that might be gleaned from the fallen. Amidst the carnage and the snow-covered bodies, they discovered Miller, lying motionless but miraculously still breathing, his M1 helmet still firmly affixed to his head. The outer steel shell of his helmet was deeply gouged, a stark and undeniable testament to the immense force of the impact it had sustained. Yet it had held. The deadly shrapnel, its murderous trajectory interrupted, had been stopped, its destructive power thwarted by the unexpected resilience of the American headgear. A German officer, Hauptmann Klaus Richter, a veteran with a keen eye for military hardware, knelt beside the unconscious American. He carefully removed the helmet, his brow furrowed in curiosity as he noted its unusual two-piece construction. The outer steel shell was familiar enough, a standard design, but the inner liner, a dark, molded material, immediately piqued his interest. It felt distinctly different from anything he had encountered before, lighter yet possessing an almost unnatural rigidity. Intrigued, he issued a direct order to his men. "Take the helmet. This is not ordinary." It was an unusual trophy, a piece of enemy equipment that hinted at an unknown, perhaps even revolutionary, technological advantage. The helmet, a silent witness to a soldier's survival, was carefully packaged and dispatched through the German lines, destined for a specialized laboratory where its secrets would be meticulously, painstakingly unraveled. The captured M1 helmet, a silent testament to American ingenuity, eventually arrived at a highly specialized materials analysis laboratory nestled deep within the industrial heartland of Germany. This clandestine facility was dedicated to the critical task of reverse engineering Allied technology, a vital component of the German war effort. Dr. Werner Schmidt, a preeminent engineer and metallurgist, renowned for his keen intellect and an almost obsessive eye for innovation, was immediately assigned to its examination. He had, in his distinguished career, meticulously examined countless Allied helmets, from the familiar British Brodie to various older American models. But this particular specimen was palpably different. The manganese steel outer shell, while undeniably robust and well-engineered, was not what truly captivated his attention. It was the inner component, the seemingly innocuous liner, that truly piqued his scientific curiosity. With the precision of a surgeon, he carefully separated the two pieces, holding the lightweight dark green molded liner in his gloved hands. It felt remarkably sturdy, almost impossibly so, for its apparent composition. Initial preliminary tests conducted by his team swiftly confirmed his growing suspicions. This was no mere pressed fiber or simple padding. This was a sophisticated, high-density, phenolic, resin-impregnated material, a cutting-edge composite. Schmidt and his dedicated team immediately subjected the liner to an exhaustive battery of tests, meticulously designed to replicate and even exceed the brutal battlefield conditions it had so miraculously endured. They fired various small-caliber rounds at it, struck it with precisely calibrated shrapnel simulators, and subjected it to extreme pressures and impacts. To their collective astonishment, the material consistently, almost defiantly, outperformed their most optimistic expectations. It absorbed impacts with an efficiency that utterly baffled them, distributing the immense force across its surface area rather than allowing it to penetrate or shatter. "This is not merely plastic, Doctor," Schmidt declared, his voice resonating with a mixture of awe and professional concern as he addressed his assembled colleagues. He held aloft a section of the liner that had just withstood a direct hit from a 9mm round, leaving only a shallow, almost insignificant indentation. "This, gentlemen, is a true marvel of material science. For its remarkably low weight, it exhibits a tensile strength and impact resistance that, I must confess, rivals some of our lighter armor plating. To be clear, it is not stronger than tank armor, in the absolute sense of a main battle tank's frontal plate, of course. But for a helmet liner, for a non-metallic material designed for personal protection, its resilience is nothing short of astonishing. It is a composite, a meticulously engineered layered structure of resin and fiber, specifically designed to dissipate kinetic energy in a manner that our traditional steel helmets, no matter how refined, simply cannot achieve. The implications of this discovery were immediate and profoundly unsettling for the German High Command. While German industry and military research had largely focused on the continuous improvement of steel alloys and traditional metallurgy, the Americans, with a quiet, almost stealthy efficiency, had developed a lightweight, mass-producible composite material that offered a demonstrably superior level of ballistic protection for individual soldiers. This stark realization forced an urgent and comprehensive re-evaluation of their own helmet designs, their material research priorities, and indeed their entire approach to personal protective equipment. It highlighted a critical, unforeseen technological gap that had opened between the warring powers. The M1 helmet, with its innovative and deceptively simple liner, represented a significant, almost revolutionary, leap forward in soldier protection. Its widespread adoption across the American forces undoubtedly contributed to a lower casualty rate from head injuries and, crucially, boosted troop morale, instilling a newfound confidence in their equipment. Its silent, plastic heart had cemented its legacy as one of the most effective and influential pieces of personal protective equipment of the entire war. The M1 helmet, with its revolutionary composite liner, continued its distinguished service to American soldiers long after the final shots of World War II had faded. Its iconic, instantly recognizable design and its unequivocally proven effectiveness on countless battlefields led to its widespread adoption by numerous other nations across the globe. Variations and adaptations of the M1 remained standard issue for military forces for many decades, a powerful testament to its enduring design brilliance and unparalleled utility. It transcended its function to become an indelible symbol of the American fighting man, deeply ingrained in the collective consciousness and military history. The profound lessons gleaned from its innovative development, particularly the groundbreaking application of advanced composite materials for ballistic protection, laid the essential groundwork for a cascade of future advancements in body armor, protective gear, and even aerospace engineering. The unsung engineers and material scientists who conceived of that plastic liner, toiling in relative obscurity in their clandestine laboratories, had, in their quiet dedication, contributed as much to the survival of countless soldiers as any celebrated weapon designer or battlefield strategist. Their collective ingenuity, born from the urgent necessity of war, had fundamentally transformed a seemingly simple piece of headgear into a sophisticated life-saving shield, proving beyond doubt that innovation on the home front could wield a profound and decisive impact on the brutal realities of the battlefield. The story of Private Thomas Miller, who survived that brutal mortar blast in the Ardennes, became a quiet, powerful testament to the M1's efficacy. He recovered from his concussive injuries, his life spared by the very helmet that had so intrigued Hauptmann Richter. Miller returned home, carrying not just the physical scars of war, but also the profound, unspoken gratitude for the piece of equipment that had defied expectations. His story, echoed by countless others, solidified the M1's reputation. This is the true, multifaceted legacy of the M1 helmet and its unsung revolutionary plastic liner. It serves as a poignant reminder that victory in the crucible of war is not solely determined by the sheer size of armies, the overwhelming power of weaponry, or the brilliance of tactical maneuvers. Often, it is the quiet, persistent brilliance of engineers and scientists, those who relentlessly push the boundaries of what is technologically possible, that makes the most profound difference. It is a compelling narrative of how a seemingly humble piece of equipment, born from a deep understanding of material science and human need, could save lives, confound enemies, and ultimately fundamentally alter the trajectory of battlefield survival. The M1 helmet stands today as a powerful, enduring symbol of protection, a silent, steadfast guardian that shielded an entire generation of soldiers, proving with an undeniable clarity that sometimes the greatest strength and the most profound resilience lie not in the cold, unyielding rigidity of metal, but in the unexpected, innovative power of a composite.